Hey there, welcome. Welcome to Rise and Receive. This is a reset point in your day where you get to stop whatever you're doing and for 10 or so minutes explore how to receive your fulfillment by unlearning struggle. So today we're going to talk about a type of struggle that pretty much every human being I've ever met struggles with, and that is waiting. And so I decided to entitle today's Rise and Receive, Why You Hate Waiting and Why You Should Love It. Now, this might be really counterintuitive, but I thought I wanted to do a title that really made you curious because the way I'm wired as a coach and someone who's fascinated by the power of creating our reality through really understanding the terrain of our consciousness. Whenever there is something that we have a strong emotional reaction to, I love to dive deep into it because there's always something there, because that is where the solution to all of our problems really begins. It's in consciousness. One of the things I always teach is that your consciousness creates your reality. However, creating your reality does not mean controlling your reality. And we tend to confuse the two, and therein lies some struggle. So today we're going to talk about why it is that you hate waiting, why you should love it, and we're going to talk about another aspect of a blind spot that I've been illuminating. It's the control versus power blind spot, but from a completely new perspective. So if you struggle with waiting, if there's something that you really want and you're waiting for, then I invite you to sit back and just really receive this, because I think you're going to at least get one good nugget, if not a lot of good nuggets, that you can take into your life and completely change or begin to change your relationship to waiting in a really powerful way. So if you don't know me, my name is Sonia Miller. I'm a speaker, coach, and best-selling author, and I show hardworking, goal-oriented people the blind spots that keep them from receiving their long overdue rewards. And the way that I do this is I teach the very useful, productive, and results-producing skill set known as receiving. So what's a blind spot? A blind spot is when your current point of view hides an essential insight. And a receiving blind spot, in other words, that thing that you can't see that's blocking you from receiving the things you most want. A receiving blind spot is when you're operating more as a human doing, which means you're seeing, your point of view is through the lens of gotta do, make things happen, versus a human being. So what I have found in my 25 plus years as a coach is most people, when they're pursuing their goals, know how to do. They hunt, they figure out, they strategize, they work really hard, they take a lot of action. And that's great up to a point. Doing is great for tasks that you know, like I can identify this is what I want to get done. But when you're trying to move into the realm of manifesting dreams, which has a lot of unknowns, then human doing can have its upper limit, and that's what happens. It can only take you so far. Then we need to tap into the being model. And it's about really reconnecting with how is it that being, the power of being, actually produces results in my life. Well, it is. It's an actual skill set. Most of us are just unfamiliar with it, but it's actually the most natural thing in the world because that's what we are. We're human beings. We just forgot how to tap into that power. So today we're going to talk a little bit more about the control versus power blind spot. And what we're going to go deeper into is that control is an aspect of human doing, because the human doing tries to harness the forces of life, get control over them, and operates from everything that it knows with the mind. And the power skill set is in the realm of being, which is harnessing, not conquering or controlling, but harnessing the powers of life, the forces of life, which is all of this realm of the unknown, all of the things that you can't control. All right. Now, waiting is very connected to your relationship to the unknown. This is why people hate it. Because most people do not have a very empowered relationship with the unknown. Most of us don't like the unknown. Most of us don't like uncertainty. And that's because we have all kinds of fears and beliefs about the unknown. This is one of the reasons 2020 and the pandemic just elevated people's fear off the charts, because we were dealing with so much uncertainty, so much unknown. And so people want to, our natural animal instinct is to try to control things to feel safe, but we couldn't control things. So I always say the gift of that, this is my habitat that I live and swim in, is most people won't explore how to access their true power, which lies within and which is about tapping into the realm of the unknown, until there's not even an illusion of control left, because control feels good. It feels safe. But when you can't control anything and you don't even think you can control anything, what's left? That's where your opportunity to tap into power comes in. All right, so I took some notes because there was a lot that I wanted to talk about today. So why is it that you hate waiting? We started to talk about the unknown. So what happens is most of us don't understand what's really happening when we're waiting. All we know is we want something and it isn't here yet. Okay. And then that whole unknown realm drives us crazy, and it creates tension in our bodies. But what's really happening is all kinds of fear and limiting beliefs are occurring underneath. That's what's the cause of the tension. So we might feel bad because it's not here yet. And what if that means it's never going to happen? Or what if that thing that we want to have be over never ends? Or what if the fact that it's not here yet means something bad has happened? So there's this whole realm of the unknown, and we become afraid that our greatest fears are actually going to occur. So that's the feel bad aspect of waiting. And that's when we hate it. Now, there's aspects of waiting that actually can be fun. And that's when we have that feeling or that belief that there's some sort of certainty. So then we're looking forward to it. And we might feel some longing or some anticipation. And then it's exciting. You're looking forward to it, because everybody likes that feeling of anticipation. It can be really fun up to a point. And then beyond that, it triggers that fear, like, oh no, this is taking too long. Something must have gone wrong. Do you see there's kind of this tipping point from known to unknown and back? When it's unknown and then we start to get some certainty again, then it can feel good and exciting. Okay, so that the hating it factor comes in with the degree of uncertainty or the unknown. That's why we hate waiting. Okay, we feel out of control. Now, why should we love it? So I came up with 3 reasons that you should love waiting. But before I do that, I want to talk about, even more importantly, why this is important from an empowerment point of view. Okay, I teach people how to become fortunate receivers. Now, what's a fortunate receiver? Good fortune, and I looked it up in the dictionary when I came up with this term, is when you receive something from unknown and unexpected sources. So here we are learning how to receive from all of what life has to offer, beyond what we could conceive of on our own, beyond what our minds could know, beyond whatever action we could take on our own. So the people who are the most fortunate receivers, those are people who either have that being and doing skill set naturally developed within them with a good amount of balance and availability, or those who've learned how to receive, which is what I teach through my 3-step receive method. People who are the most fortunate receivers, the thing that they really have is that they are really good at navigating resistance, at working with resistance when it comes up. Because the truth is, we're receiving all day long. There's just a natural flow of life that's available to us. The problem is that when we receive things that we don't want, we stop the flow. We resist it, we battle it, we defend against it, we hold on to it, we clamp down. And what does that do? It blocks the flow of life. But when you get really good at noticing resistance, which is like, I hate waiting, I hate this, right? If you hate it and you resist it and you try to control what you can't control, you're going to block the flow. But if you can recognize that you're resisting the waiting, if you can recognize that you're battling it or trying to defend against it, and the resistance is occurring, and you have these 3 ways of relating to it that are powerful, then you open the flow, and then it becomes actually something that's a catalyst for more and better. So that's a little bit of a intro to this. So why should you fall in love with waiting? Number one, it's an opportunity to expand your power. So what does that mean? Well, if you want to feel powerful when you're waiting and you don't feel powerful because you're out of control, okay, waiting, because it's such a big resistance, it's such a big one for so many people. When you decide that waiting is actually a good thing and you now become curious about it whenever you're waiting, that's going to be a huge area of expansion for you. Okay, because until you decide to relate to waiting as something to be curious about, it's just going to be a block. But when you get curious about it and you say, oh, I'm going to change my relationship to this, then all the places that you've been resisting and waiting, those are all power leaks. Those are all places that the flow stops up. But now every time you notice you're waiting, and you say, oh, I'm waiting and I'm resisting, how can I open the flow gates? All of those are places that you plug up the leaks to your power and you open up the flow. So it's about the matter of degree of how much you resist it. All right. So it's a way to expand your power when you change your relationship from hating waiting, which causes resistance and blocks you, to loving waiting because it's an opportunity to open the flow. Big expansion of your power. Opens up flow in great ways. Hey, Nakia, good to see you. So the second reason that you should love waiting or fall in love with it is waiting is a signpost. When you're waiting, it means that the thing that you want is not here yet, whether it's a thing you want to arrive or something that you want to stop. Okay. Now, if it isn't here yet, excuse me, it doesn't mean that life is against you. It doesn't mean that your greatest fear is occurring. It doesn't mean that something bad is happening. That's where the mind goes. Struggle begins in the mind. Okay. But when we open up to receiving, we become willing to be willing to believe that life always offers kindness. And if you're willing to believe that life always offers kindness, okay, then you can, I lost my notes here, excuse me. Then you can believe that life is for you and not against you. And if life is for you and you're waiting, it's pointing to what's the next step for me. What is here to receive right now? Because here's the thing. You cannot receive the thing you want and still be the person that you were before it came in. In other words, for you to receive the thing you want, you have to become the person who matches that thing. So it's about growing, and the signposts point you to where you have a growth opportunity next. So let me give you some examples. Let's say you're a single person and you want to be married. I work with a lot of female clients, but this is true for all genders, okay? And a very common thing is they want to be married. They want to be a wife. Now, if your consciousness is that of a single woman, you have to grow into what it means for you to be the partner of your dreams with the partner of your dreams. You have to grow into partnership, the consciousness of partnership. So if that Mr. Right, Miss Right, whoever that partner is, isn't here yet, then the waiting for that is a signpost to what is my opportunity to grow? Who do I need to become? Or how do I become more of me to allow that into my life, to receive it into my life? Same thing happens with business or money. I see this all the time. Let's say you're a minimum wage earner and you want to be a successful business owner. You cannot be a minimum wage earner in your consciousness and then receive successful business owner results, okay? Those are two different levels of consciousness. So if you're waiting for those results, instead of I'm waiting, it hasn't happened yet, you can say, here's a signpost. Where do I need to grow next? That's another reason you should love waiting, because it actually is pointing you down the path to your dream, because life is for you. Life is always offering kindness. And then finally, excuse me, intensity can create momentum. Intensity can create momentum. So if you are hating waiting, hating is a strong word, but we feel that sometimes. We are so frustrated because that thing hasn't happened yet, right? But if you're hating and you're feeling that intensity of, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this, know that on the other side of that is tremendous momentum. There's a tremendous breakthrough if you harness that energy. Back to harnessing versus controlling. When we feel something really strongly, many times we can want to control it. Now, if you are wanting to control this feeling of waiting by trying to get it under control with your mind and understand it, it can block the flow. So we talk about in receiving the doing skill set and the being skill set. Okay. The mind and the feelings. Sometimes the mind will say, I need to get over this waiting. I need to figure it out. And you'll just feel stuck and stuck and stuck. And sometimes what you need to do is receive the intensity of, I hate this. And I've been talking recently a lot about when you're struggling, do you give yourself permission to have a tantrum, to simply want what you want, have a productive and healthy tantrum, whether you vent with a friend, whether you write in a journal, where you go for a walk, to let the emotional energy of the frustration of waiting flow. Because if you do, that will get you unstuck, it will pass on through, and you can receive more or better. And here's the thing about intensity. When the intensity is really strong, it's a lot like a slingshot. If you have a slingshot and you pull it back a little bit, it'll go forward a little bit. If you pull it really far back and you have a lot of tension, and then you release it like a tantrum, that thing's going to go far. So when you know how to harness the power of intense emotions by knowing how to receive them and honor them, it's one of the things we talk a lot about in the Receive course and in the Receive Oracle cards, a lot around soothing your needs or soothing your struggle. When you learn how to deal with intensity in a productive way, rather than just trying to control it, it can generate tremendous speed and tremendous momentum. So those are 3 reasons you can fall in love with waiting and use it to your benefit instead of feeling frustrated and stuck by it. An opportunity to expand your power, a signpost to what's next, and intensity can create momentum. So I have a card to share with you. Sorry for my throat clearing rise and receive today. This was inspired by, again, my card deck is, here we go, the Receive Oracle cards. You can get them on Amazon now. And this card is Soothe Your Need to Know. So if you are feeling frustrated and hating waiting, your best bet is to stop and notice. Remember, it's tied up with not knowing when, not knowing how, not knowing why it's not happening. Just stop. Notice, and you can use this mantra. I am willing to find safety in the unknown because what I know is limited at best. If you're waiting, use this mantra. Say it to yourself, say it out loud. It can only help. So if this was helpful, please please share. It helps me reach the people that I'm here to serve. If you're on YouTube, click the subscribe button. I'll keep letting you know each time I release a video. And if you'd like to get your own Receive Oracle cards, go to receivecarddeck.com. It'll take you to my Amazon link and you can get your very own and they'll be shipped to you right away. Have a great rest of your day and I'll see you at the next Rise and Receive. Bye, everybody.